All right, let's talk about something that can be a real headache in any big organization. Finding anything. You're trying to find a person, a printer. It's like searching for a needle in a digital haystack, right? Well, today we're diving into the powerful tool that makes those searches just instant. We're talking about the Windows Server 2025 Global Catalog. Let's break down how this master index for your entire network really works. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll really get a feel for the problem, this idea of a digital forest. Then we'll look at the brilliant solution, this master index. After that, we'll peek under the hood to see how it works, understand its real job, which you might be surprised by. And finally, we'll talk strategy, because where you put these things, oh yeah, that matters a lot.
Okay, so before we jump into the solution, let's really set the scene and appreciate just how big this problem is. Because honestly, to get why the global catalog is so crucial, you first have to understand the sheer chaos it's designed to prevent.
So picture this. Your company's entire network, it's like a massive, sprawling forest. And this forest is broken up into different sections. We call them domains. Now imagine you need to find just one person or one printer out of millions. What do? Without a map, you'd literally have to search every single corner of that forest. The whole thing would grind to a halt. It's just not practical, right?
So, faced with this impossible search problem, how in the world does Active Directory handle it? Well, it turns out the solution is surprisingly simple and really elegant. It's all about creating a master index for the entire forest.
And that solution is called the Global Catalog. Think of it as the ultimate address book or master index for that entire digital forest we talked about. It's a special feature that runs on a domain controller, and its whole job is to keep a partial, super fast, searchable copy of everything from every single domain. It's what points you in the right direction instantly.
Okay, so if this thing is a master index for a potentially huge global network, how is it even built? And more importantly, how does it stay up to date? Let's get into the mechanics.
Now this is where it gets really clever. For its own home domain, the Global Catalog server keeps a full, writable copy of everything. No surprise there. But for all the other domains in the forest, it only holds a partial, read-only copy. We're talking just the important stuff you'd need to search for, like names and email addresses. And that is the secret to its speed. By not copying every single tiny detail, it stays lean, it stays fast, and it keeps network traffic way down.
And you know what the best part is? The whole thing is automatic. You don't have some poor administrator manually updating this index all day. Nope. Active Directory's standard replication system just handles it all. It works quietly in the background, making sure that master index is always fresh and ready to go. So how do applications know where to send these big, forest-wide search requests? Well, the Global Catalog has its own special hotline. It's always listening on a specific network port. For your standard unencrypted queries using what's called LDAP, it's port 3268. And of course, for secure, encrypted searches, which is pretty much essential these days, it uses the very next one in line, port 3269 for LDAPs. So yeah, think of these ports as direct lines that make sure your search queries get straight to the expert that can answer them fast. Okay, so we've got the mechanics down, right? We know about the partial copies, the automatic updates, those special ports. But let's talk about the payoff. What does this all mean for you and your users like on a Tuesday morning? Why should you care?
Well, here it is. The Global Catalog is what makes those lightning-fast searches across the whole company possible. You know when you start typing someone's name in an email and it just pops up? That's the GC finding their address, even if they're in a totally different office, maybe even a different country. When you search for a printer down the hall, that's the GC too. It basically makes a huge, complex global network feel small and local.
But honestly, its most critical job, the one you'd notice immediately if it failed, happens every single morning when you log in. See, your computer has to figure out what company-wide groups or universal groups you belong to. Those groups decide what you can access across the entire network. So your local domain controller shoots a quick question to the Global Catalog, gets an answer back in a flash, and boom, you're in. Without that quick check, logging in would either fail completely or take forever.
All right, last big topic here. You can't just flip a switch and say, I have a global catalog now, and call it a day. No, where you put these servers, that's a huge strategic decision, and it all depends on what your network actually looks like.
It really comes down to your setup. If you've got a big multi-domain forest, maybe with offices all over the world, you're definitely going to want multiple global catalog servers. That gives you redundancy. If one goes down, no big deal, and it keeps searches fast for everyone no matter where they are. But if you're running a simple single domain forest, life's a lot easier,
In that case, every domain controller already has all the data, so they all pretty much act as global catalogs right out of the box.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that the global catalog isn't some optional extra or a nice-to-have feature. It is absolutely foundational to a healthy Active Directory network. Without it, those fast cross-domain searches that we all rely on to get our jobs done, they just wouldn't happen.
And that really leaves us with one last, pretty important question to think about. If the global catalog is the master index to your entire digital forest, the map to literally everything, what happens when that index goes missing? It's a sobering thought, and it really drives home why things like redundancy and smart planning aren't just buzzwords, they're absolutely essential.